Hello homies and welcome to day 5 of World Homeopathy Awareness Week, where we'll be releasing a new episode every day from 10 to 16 April to celebrate the birthday of the founder of homeopathy, Samuel Hahnemann, who was born on 10 April 1755. Today is the third of our series of 5 episodes where you'll hear from mothers and a couple of children who use homeopathy. First up, you'll hear from Kelly, who's a chiropractor that also uses homeopathy. Personally, I've always had a soft spot in my heart for chiros because they do some great work. And as you know, the clinic in Stoneville where I work used to be run by a wonderful chiro. And I also used to work in a chiropractic clinic in New Zealand. So I was very excited to have Kelly share her story with our listeners. You'll also hear from 2 very special ladies who I've been working with for a couple of years, Nina and Ina. They are both now studying homeopathy through Switch on Health, which you can find more information about in episode 35 of this podcast. I can't wait for them to graduate, and also for Bo, who I mentioned in a previous episode. We're going to have so many incredible new homeopaths in Perth very soon. So good luck with your studies, ladies. And listen out for 2 very sweet little voices, Luke, who's 7 years old, and his sister, Ahava, who's 5 years old. Their very clever mummy, Nadia, has been using homeopathy with them for several years. And we'll finish off today's episode with Kayla, an incredibly special lady who started working with an amazing homeopath many years ago and who has since sadly passed away. This homeopath really inspired Kayla to learn as much about homeopathy as she could, and this amazing homeopath also left many of her remedies and books to Kayla. Kayla is absolutely passionate about homeopathy, and I'll forever be indebted to her for the dozens of people she has referred to me. At one stage, the admin of a particular Facebook group actually private messaged me to ask if I was paying Kayla to share information about homeopathy. And I said to her, no, seriously, Kayla is doing this all from the goodness of her heart and to try and help as many people as possible to get into homeopathy. Kayla is now also a creatrix, transformologist, and through the profound transformations that she's made in her own life and the incredible challenges she's overcome using this program, she's now able to help women change their lives through emotional healing. So you can reach Kayla at her Facebook page, Heart Free New Me, and check out the show notes. Enjoy the episode.
Hi Eugenie, this is Kelly Costa, and I am forever grateful for you for sharing your passion of homeopathy with the mothers of Perth, because you have empowered us to make choices that support the body's natural healing and not have to use pharmaceutical medications every time our baby is teething or has a fever. We have remedies that we can use to help them with their discomfort. And I think this is so important. Majority of the homeopathy that I have used has been for my little one. But even for myself, postpartum, used a lot of arnica for healing, and I love it emotionally as well. And using homeopathy really aligns with my philosophy as a chiropractor, that we want to support the body's natural healing. We believe in that innate intelligence, that the body is incredibly, incredibly smart. And if we give the body the basics it needs for healing, the body is going to do what it does best, and that is heal itself. And that is why I love homeopathy, because it is on an energetic level helping the body to heal itself, and we're not relying on an overly outside-in approach. It's very much the body doing what it needs to do to heal. I'm really looking forward to exploring more of the emotional support of homeopathy. I know that there's a lot of physical support, but I've really enjoyed using remedies such as sepia or ignatia or gelasium, and those have been really supportive for me in my postpartum / running a business journey as well, and supporting me in my emotions and my stress. And I look forward to just exploring the remedies and using them and seeing how they can support me and my family in our natural healing journey, so we don't have to, again, turn to medications, and we can stay out of GP offices or hospitals as well.
Hi, my name is Nina,
And even though I knew about homeopathy, I've never properly used it until around 2 years ago, and I've fallen completely in love with it. I'm amazed every time to see how quick it helps with all sorts of ailments. Just quickly wanted to tell you about a few remedies we use a lot in our house. First of all, we use ledum a lot for mozzie bites. They just love me and my son. Sepia, of course, for hormonal and crazy mum times. Rustox, I feel, is my remedy for my headaches. I love chamomilla for my 6-year-old daughter when she's just out of sorts and grumpy, throwing a tantrum. And the other day she actually got mad at me for giving it to her because she wasn't ready to calm down yet, she told me. Very recently, I've detoxed the kids from the rotavirus vaccine. And who knew? My 9-year-old son, who had constipation issues since he was about 4 months old, suddenly goes daily. It's amazing. I mean, he is absolutely amazed and stunned, and all these issues are more or less gone now. The kids know it helps, and so they always ask if I have globally, as we call them, for them. And of course, we always find something. It's great. The dog the other day injured his dew claw. Unfortunately, we did have to go to the vet because it had to come off. But I gave him the infection mix and, of course, arnica. And I sprayed on colloidal silver and also mother tincture. And he had no issues there. It didn't get infected or anything at all. He was really good. Even my husband now, who didn't think a lot of homeopathy in the beginning, but he is fully on board now and always asks me if I've got stuff. His remedy is probably carbo-veg for his heartburn. He couldn't actually believe that it took his heartburn away. Yeah, so we love homeopathy. My mother-in-law every now and then even comes over and asks. She is very much into pharmaceuticals, but every now and then she gives it a shot, and that's great. So thanks to Eugenie, I feel empowered and always got a great group on hand. And thanks for everything you do for us, Eugenie.
Hi, my name is Ina, and I feel compelled to share my story in hopes that homeopathy could help someone else. Well, recently I've been very deep inside anxious state where I couldn't really recognize myself. And at that point, I thought, I need to go and see my homeopath, beautiful Eugenie, which I did. And the first remedies she prescribed me just turned everything upside down and got me back to myself, which was great. It was just instant. It was just a few days into the remedies, and I just started to feel so much better. And I could do things that I weren't able to do because of the anxiety. And it just kind of re-inspired me and got my passion back. And because of this, actually, I have decided to also study homeopathy now because it just totally blew my mind.
Bye.
Hello, my name's Luke. I'm 7 years old. My mum uses homeopathic remedies. They make us feel a lot better. Like once when I went to athletics, my legs were like very paining and it was not very nice. Then she gave me it and it was very nice after a bit, like 5 minutes. And also when I had very, very high fever, she gave me it, and then the next morning I was very new and my fever was away, and it was like I was before, and I felt a lot better. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Mahara and I'm 5 years old. My mum gave me the remedy because my throat and I had also a tummy ache, and then I felt really better after 3 minutes or 4. Then I felt really bad, and thanking Mum that I am having a good time and that you gave me them to let me feel much better. And bye.
Hi, my name is Kayla. I have 3 children and I've recently become a single mum, and homeopathy has been quite crucial in that because it's helped me with the emotional and physical transition to being by myself, and it's also helped my children emotionally. I've been using homeopathy in our home for about 7 years now. When my second child was about 6 months old, I just divinely came across a register sheet to do a homeopathy at home course, like a first aid course. And I was like, yep, I don't really know what it is, but I'm up for anything. And I kind of felt guided. There was a force bigger than me at play then. So I did it. And during this course, my daughter had become increasingly sick. And I remember on my the first day of the course, I went home, and that night a massive, huge worm came out of her bottom in the bath. And that kind of set me on the path to wanting to heal her. Ivy was very, very sick as a child, had some terrible reactions to her childhood immunization schedule. And at 12 months, she actually got meningitis and encephalitis, and we nearly lost her. So homeopathy was the only thing that saved her. I went the medical route. I went to the doctors. I went to hospital. I tried to get her an exemption. I wasn't successful. I won't go into too much detail, but it's almost impossible to get an exemption, even 7 years ago. So we had to rely on homeopathy. She was sick for weeks. I think she was sick for 5 weeks, to the point that I was carrying around her nearly lifeless body. And it was absolutely heartbreaking. My homeopath mentor at the time, we tried, I reckon we nearly tried hundreds of remedies, and she was a very spiritual woman, and she got some guidance one night in meditation, and she rang me the next morning super early, and she said, I know what it is. It's meningitis. So we went. Obviously, we couldn't get Western medicine to help. They just kept saying it was virus, it's this, it's that. But I knew as a mother it was something much more than a virus. So we went to a naturopath that worked in conjunction with our homeopath, and we popped her on a Vega machine, and her bacterial levels were off the charts. The naturopath actually stopped some homeopathic medicines. So we started giving her penicillin 6C. We had to put it in her ear. And she also had, I feel like it was stramonium 10M. And within minutes, we went from having this lifeless little sick body that had like off the chart brain fevers over 40 degrees to she started walking again. She was talking, and eventually we used homeopathy to help with the other damage that had been done to her body, mainly to her gut and her brain development. She had lots of symptoms that weren't conducive to her growing into the clever little girl she is now. So I completely attribute homeopathy to that healing. Homeopathy has also been amazing for myself. One of the biggest pieces of information that I've found along my journey when we were healing me, CPR was my jam, saved me from the crazy mother that I was. And we also used the Depo-Provera nosode, and that had quite a profound effect on my life. And just for some of the people that might be listening to this podcast, I only learnt in my journey when I was undoing the damage of Depo-Provera. In America, Depo-Provera is actually chemical castration. And in Australia, we pump this into our bodies willingly as a contraceptive. So if anyone is out there on contraceptives, please take the time to look at it, because I have had so much damage to my body because I had so many years of Depo-Provera. Before we used the nosode, I hadn't had a period for 3 years. I had one dose of the nosode and it came back the next day. Wow. It was actually incredible. And like, if I wasn't convinced about homeopathy before then, I was well and truly convinced then. What else have we've had lots of like weird, mysterious illnesses over the years. I have recently separated from my husband, but he after Ivy, our second child, was born and she had all the health issues, when she was quite young, he had really strange neurological symptoms. And he was hospitalised in Fiona Stanley for nearly a week, and he had brain scans, and he was seen by all the top doctors, and no one could figure out what was wrong with him. His tremor was so severe that he couldn't actually hold a fork to eat. So we went through all this testing. They said to us, like, it was a very scary time in our lives. He may have MS, he may have Parkinson's. Anyway, after about a year, before we moved away from Perth, we followed up with a private neurologist, and he said, you have an intention tremor. You suppress your emotions so severely that it's manifesting in this tremor that looks like Parkinson's or MS.
Wow.
And after he came out of hospital, we were so desperate for some relief that he agreed to be treated by the homeopath. And so he had some constitutional treatment, and that tremor went away.
Amazing.
Absolutely incredible. So I've been using homeopathy on him willingly for the last 7 years. Unfortunately, I won't have access to treat him anymore, so he will have to do life. But I suppose it's just a testament to homeopathy that it works so deeply on the emotional plane that it can resolve neurological symptoms. I watched it happen. I dosed him. So I think that what we used for him then was calcicarb or maybe natmur. He has had natmur as well.
I think I remember you saying that he had the calcicarb and he lost a lot of weight as well, hey? Because
he lost about 20 kilos in
wow.
3-4 weeks.
Wow.
And I think it was the fact that his hormones were out of balance, his thyroid wasn't working, and the change was just profound to see. And you know what? He's never put that weight back on. He's quite slim and slender now. He's never gotten to the weight that he was. So that was amazing. I'm trying to think what we've used. Okay, here's another testament to homeopathy. I have a new 3-year-old. He only turned 3 last Friday. All through my pregnancy, I only used remedies. I decided to go a very different way with the third child because I knew so much that I didn't know with the other two. So with my 3-year-old, I had homeopathy all through pregnancy, particularly sepia, because if anyone gets to this point, my placenta used to drop and I always got the feeling that he would just fall out. And I had it with his brother and sister, but I didn't have homeopathy in their pregnancy. So it was amazing that I could feel my uterus actually come back up after a dose of sepia. And I lost that feeling. Yeah, so we got all the way to the end and childbirth. He was the first and only birth that I didn't have an epidural. I didn't have any painkillers. I was induced, but I didn't have anything to manage the pain or the healing. It was the first baby I was able to breastfeed. So that was also a miracle. I had constant mastitis and breastfeeding issues that homeopathy cured, of course. And now as a 3-year-old, he's never, ever, ever once seen a doctor or been to a hospital since the day he was born. And he's the most reckless child I've ever met. I don't know how we have avoided it, and I'll touch wood now. Yeah,
lots of vital force.
Oh, there is so
strong
much
vital force.
He's like a ball. He just bounces back. And my dear oldest child, we've treated some amazing things with him. When he was 4 years old, he had explosive, uncontrollable anger. And he had his very first remedy when he was about 4 because we were working on his sister as well. And he actually had developed a turned eye. And I've got photos, and that turned eye came back in. And he has now perfect in-line vision. And basically homeopathy, anytime there is a hint of illness, we use it to protect from illness. We manage everything, even emotional. Probably the emotional well-being is the biggest thing for our family.